advisors, I'm super excited to introduce you to Elements in Real Life. This is a series of videos we're putting together to help you better understand how to do financial planning with Elements. Each week, Elements advisors will take real client questions and show you how they use the vital signs to provide real advice. So check it out, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Elements in Real Life episode. My name is Brandon Galici, founder of Galici Financial, and I am joined by
Jordan Haines, founder of nothing but hanging out here at Elements and an advisor that likes to answer questions.
also a certified financial planner. He's brilliant, so
That's true.
Don't let him play himself down too much. But today I'm excited because this is again Elements in Real Life. You're someone that you know actually asked you this question that we're going to be talking about today. So with that, Jordan, if you want to tee it up.
Yes. So I got a text from a friend of mine who said, Jordan, I really want to buy a truck. Can I get a truck? And I said, I don't know anything about your financial situation. Let's learn more. So I had him on board to Elements, go through all the questions, did some back and forth, cleaned up the data, got it to a point where we had a fully completed scorecard. So why don't I show that here and we can talk about this. Before I tell you what I said, Brandon, I'm curious, just high level insights, what you're noticing. So let me make some quick comments here.
Mm-hmm.
A young couple, 29 and 26. This is a salesman, right? So his income is somewhat variable. He's also really big into real estate. And so cleaning up his data, he's got 5 or 6 investment real estate properties. He obviously wants to expand that a little bit more. So one of the things is very recently, he purchased a new rental property, which is why we see his liquidity a little low. Now, he's really open to putting a pause on that so that he can get his life in order. But that is essentially at a high level, a little bit more about this client. So I'm curious what your thoughts would be here.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's super helpful because the two things whenever I first heard this question, can I get a new truck? The main elements that I'm looking at first are going to be debt rate and liquid term. So having that context though of, hey, liquid term was higher, but he just used it to purchase a rental property is one super helpful because we also have his savings right there at 23%. So most likely we're going to be able to build up this liquid term pretty quickly right away. So right now it's a little bit low if he's going to buy a truck because we'd probably want to see that closer to 0.5, maybe even higher, especially since you said that he's a salesman. His income is going to vary. So definitely focus on liquid term, and I'm sure you told him that. And then the other one would be, okay, like let's walk through some quick numbers on what would the loan be? What's the new payment going to be on a monthly basis? And right now the debt rate is pretty low at only 13%. So he has some room there, but right now I think the biggest sticking point is, hey, why don't you boost up your liquidity over the next several months? It might not take him very long anyways. And then I think he's going to feel a lot more secure and confident knowing that he's got the money in the bank after he purchases the truck.
Yeah. One of the first things that my eyes are drawn to here is we often do this trick here at Elements where we'll zero in on this row in particular, their cash flow. And the story here is how, if this client makes $226,000 a year, we can expect that money is either going to be saved, be spent, go towards debt, or go towards taxes. And so if we do a quick calculation and we sum this up, what does this look like? It's about 95%. So this is actually really pretty close to 100%, and that margin of error is okay. So this client is utilizing most of their income. And so the question that I had for him when I asked him, I said, where's the rest of your money going, right? You have a little bit of a buffer. And he said, we're just, everything that we make that's extra is going towards cash. And so upon asking him, we can add a little bit more context. I said, okay, well, what are your options here with a loan? Do you want to take out a loan? Do you want to pay for this truck outright? He said, I'm willing to take out a loan. He's very comfortable with debt. But he said, I want to put a little bit more down on that. And I said, okay, exactly what you said, Brandon. We look here at this liquid term score, and I explained, hey, liquid term tells us how many years you can live off your liquid assets. You just purchased that rental property that took a big hit on your liquid assets right now. You can live less than 3 months on your liquid assets. What do you think about that? And he said, well, obviously, we probably need to bring that up. And I said, yeah, especially if you're wanting to grow or invest in other things in the future, whether it's rental properties or investments. That's something that's going to be really important to you. He said, yes. I said, really, your options here are wait, right? You can wait to buy a truck as you build your liquid assets, get it to a point where you're comfortable, you have an emergency fund, you can make that down payment, or you can leverage it almost completely if you want to, right? Your debt rate is, all things considered, pretty low. This is only reflecting his mortgage for their personal residence that is supplemented by basement renters, right? So
Nice.
it's low, right? If you're comfortable taking that cash flow hit and being able to afford that every month, then I would say, do it today if you feel comfortable about that. If you're not, let's focus on building your liquidity. My advice to him as a financial advisor was, I think you need to focus on building your liquidity just a little bit more before you take that hit to your debt, things like that. Any other comments you'd make on that, Brandon?
No, I just love what you asked them there too. Like, hey, what do you think about this whenever you were talking
Mhm.
about liquid term? Because now, again, when we talk about behavioral change, which is one of the things that I believe Elements is so great at, he's now bought in. It's not Jordan saying, you can't go buy this truck. It's, hey, your liquidity is a little bit low. You provided the context around it. How do you feel about that? And then now
Yeah.
you're in this collaborative discussion. And then by the end of it, he's ultimately making the decision with your guidance. But he's now going to be much more likely to follow through. And one, in this case, if he did decide to increase his liquidity, he's going to be much more likely to do that because now he has a purpose and it was kind of his idea, right? He's fully bought in. You didn't just say,
Yeah.
hey, here's action step 1, 2, and 3. Here's your one-page plan. Let's go. It's that collaborative discussion, that guidance.
And to add to that, right, he now has a framework to kind of frame up his decision making, right? So, okay, if I pay for this loan with a hefty down payment, it'll take a hit on my liquidity, and I'll have less debt rate. Or if I leverage most of this car, then I will have a higher debt rate and more liquidity. And which of those are more important to me? And I think that emotional part, the reason I always ask that question, how do you feel about that, is debt in particular is a very emotional topic, right?
Yes.
How do you feel about debt? It just so happens that he is very, very comfortable with debt, given his rental and real estate past. And so that is less scary for him. And so that gave him the permission to say, hey, this is entirely up to you. I think you're fine either way. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tight, but you have a healthy savings rate. You have a low debt rate. You could afford to take on more leverage. At the end of the day, though, I want to see this liquid term score go up, no matter what, if you can swing that. So now he can look at that and say, and honestly, how the conversation ended is he said, okay, well, this gives me enough to think about. And I said, great, think about it, right? You have this app, keep looking at it. If you're ever curious about what you can do, let's chat and we can talk about, okay, if you do this, what will that do to your scores? And so now he has a framework to base his decision-making off of.
And that's powerful. Having that framework, it's the framework that's just so key. Versus, again, could you have imagined, Jordan, if you're like, hold on a second, let me take 2 hours, get all of your information in myself, give me all these documents, and then let me run some sort of projection into the future, these, the 29 and 26. And you're like, well, if you do buy this truck now, you go from an 87.92 to actually an 84 point. It's like, come on. Like, obviously we're saying this slightly in jest, but that's not going to help anyone make a decision, right? This foreign future line that we have a high degree of certainty it's going to be wrong, but being able to just give him that framework to think about it, because now it's, hey, what's more important to you? Do you want to get the truck now and increase your debt rate? That could be the answer. Or do you want to wait a little bit?
Yeah.
Again, like you said, both are fine. He's not blowing up his financial plan in either scenario.
Yeah. And my answer would be completely different if his savings rate was lower and his burn rate was higher, right? Would I feel more comfortable saying it's up to you? Or would I say, no, you should not do that, right? I think my answers would change. And so this kind of gives us an immediate response, right? What should I do right now, not 30 years from now? What effect will this have on me in 30 years? No. What effect will this have on me tomorrow if I make this decision? And that's mostly what people are looking for.
I agree. Anything else, Jordan?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Well, thank you for you guys, the advisors, watching another Elements in Real Life. I'm Brandon Galici. This is Jordan Haines. And make sure you click the link below. Book a demo if you want to have more meaningful conversations like this with your clients and prospects. Definitely book a demo, and we will see you next week. Talk to you then.
So what did you think about that? We'd love to hear your thoughts about how we answered that question. Do you think that you would have answered it differently? Comment below and let us know. Now, if you have a scorecard that you want us to dissect, or a client question you want answered using Elements but aren't sure how, send us the client's one-page plan to cs@getelements.com, and we hope to catch you next time.